This is documentation of that cough is a demon stalking with activity with simultaneity to my speaking and beginning the recording. And you know that because the fake sun is over the same OVITT Family Community Library that it is at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're all walking around, sitting, engaging in what is surveillance in a library and engineered light. These are demons. This is the Nephilim engaged in monitoring, and they're monitoring their ongoing impending federal prosecution. The entities engaging in what is monitoring online, so I'm going to show you what they're committing. This is federal stalking, Title 18, with the intent to obstruct justice. So everything that you see online, for example, as I share this folder for the 27th, everything is published in this folder for you to access on my website, okay? So the entity that is engaged in federal stalking under Title 18 is seeking to obstruct justice with knowledge that they're being documented. That's the entity that's engaged in criminal surveillance and also engages in malicious acts like criminal summoning, for which they're going to prison, specifically the demons at the OVITT Family Community Library. And this is pursuant to that. This is documented today, and it's removed from the folder, and this has the effect of when you go into the folder for today, September 27, 2025, you won't see all the beautiful images prosecuting the state of California and the Nephilim, who are going to be labeled as domestic terrorists and prosecuted for the sex offensive gang stalking. All right, these are some of the images that they want removed. Proof of presence, which is going to be on surveillance cameras. My documentation is not the only thing that's going to put the demon possessed where they belong and have them appropriately labeled. This is the entity that's engaging in what is stalking, monitoring my phone and doing so, pacing in and out of the pacing in and out of the administrator office door while they're monitoring with noise like the demon coughing in the background. They just all engage in what is monitoring my vagina while I'm in the restroom, engaging in bathroom monitoring. And the entity is engaged in what is removal of evidence from that folder pursuant to what is monitoring, and you're doing so with knowledge that you are being documented. And so I want to capture this. This is another tactic of the intent to obstruct justice while the entity is indeed engaged in monitoring and is keeping evidence against itself under surveillance and is engaged in monitoring with the intent to obstruct justice. And this is relevant to the kidnappers at the OVITT Family Community Library who are going to prison for the kidnappings that I documented. And the one that is going to be published soon is the one that occurred on June 16, 2022, where the entity is still engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, which is speaking to why they're going to federal prison. They're still gang stalking, they're still monitoring my vagina, and they're still engaging in what is obstruction of justice tactics while engaging in that. And they're doing it as a massive sex offense by the people of the state who are stalking me day and night, inside and outside of this library. Okay, so this is documenting the entity that is removing evidence. This is removing it from your ability to see it in the folder that I publish, which is a criminal act of obstruction of justice. Okay, I publish it into a specific folder. The entity is monitoring online. This is on the Ontario Wi-Fi network. The entity is going to be prosecuted for federal stalking on the venue of the internet on the Ontario Wi-Fi, and you already know that the city of Ontario is fully engaged in surveillance. The police department, the fire department. Hi, would you mind letting me back in the room, please? And engaged in what is that pattern of conduct with the intent to obstruct justice. All right, this is P.O.C. I'm going to capture the evidence and make sure it's all returned back into that drive, but I want to capture this. The entities engage in this on a daily basis, removing the evidence from the folder, and that's just removing it from your ability to see it because the sex offenders are embarrassed about being identified, and the federal government is engaging in an investigation while I am publishing my public investigation, and they're already identified. What's also known, thank you, is the fact that they're engaged in obstruction while being investigated for terrorism and furtherance of murder, and you're going to prison for that. This is the P.O.C. This is the entity that's engaged in monitoring on the venue of the internet. Everybody inside, all the demons inside of the library are engaged in what are surveilling me, and they're doing it on the Ontario Wi-Fi network. They're doing it via communication devices. They're doing it in furtherance of murder as an entity that is stalking obsessively everywhere that I go, and where I go from the library back to 537 North Euclid Avenue. That's where the people of the state are maintaining surveillance with that entity that's stalking by planes and helicopters. Okay, this is P.O.C. This is documentation of another obstruction of justice tactic pursuant to surveillance that's underway on my device, and the government doesn't have any warrant or probable cause to engage in that. All right, and you're not going to interfere with the federal case without federal prison. All right, it's currently, again, as you can see, 4:59 p.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the defendant that's engaged in it. And remember, this is the specific actor within the entity. The OVITT Family Community Library is nothing other than a state actor. This is P.O.C.